welcome to another installment of Libertarians at Large, where we discuss libertarian ideas with current news geared to new individuals of the Libertarian Party or people who just want to know more about the Libertarian Party in the United States. My name is Eric Rautzip, an at-large member of the Libertarian Party, and tonight I am joined by Valerie Sarwak, another at-large member on the Libertarian National Committee. Welcome, Valerie.
Hey.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm a little cold and I keep sniffing, but I trust that I am healthy and safe. Just cold.
Tonight we actually also have a really special guest, David Valente, who is the Region 5 alternate, also LNC very large. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Well.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely. That's great. People who normally watch the show know that we are usually joined by Laura Epke, but Laura Epke had a very important reason not to be here tonight. It is her son's debut on the stage, so it is with great excitement that we have David on the show with us tonight for that. So yeah. So how's everyone's week been?
Pretty good. I've been moving, so it's
the week after the grand affair of budget meetings. So are we all recouping now? Is that?
I no longer have numbers running through my head.
You no longer have Excel spreadsheet shock. Yeah. Is that what it is? That's good. That's good.
I was bad at math to begin with, so it's like the strong meeting of the year for me. So,
well, I have to say though, a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be the worst meeting in the world." But I think that we knew that it was going to be a really rough meeting, so we had so much planning go in before that we actually made it into the easiest budget meeting that I think the Libertarian Party has seen in years. So I think that really kind of paves the way. Hopefully we can have all of our budget meetings this well prepared in the future. And hats off to Joe Bishop Henchman for really pulling that together. So that's great.
Very painless. Yeah, and actually, I forgot how early in the month it was, and I was just telling my committee, don't worry, we won't meet until after the holidays. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, there's still a solid 3 weeks before Christmas. So we're gonna have a meeting next week, and Dave's
I'm trying to set up a meeting for marketing and media as well, and
I'm on that too.
Yeah, exactly. So you got double dose going on here.
And I'm doing meetings for the state next week. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Actually, I'm going to be helping plan the North Carolina State Convention. So now we've got to start putting that together. And now I've just been elected to be on the convention committee for national. So I've got all sorts of. It's a busy life, but hey, I love it. I'm a glutton for punishment. I think we all are.
When's the North Carolina convention?
The North Carolina convention. Now you're asking me questions.
Sorry.
Isn't it in March?
I believe it is, but I want to give the right answer.
I know it's in Greensboro.
Yes, it is in. It is in Greensboro. Greensboro.
I grew up in Greensboro.
So.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a homecoming for me because I'm coming down for that.
Very nice.
We have ours on April 17th.
Gotcha.
In Clarksburg, West Virginia. So
nice. Yeah. I am on the convention planning committee for New Hampshire, and ours is I can't remember. It's in the middle of March. But it was in January last year, and it was like 65 degrees because everyone was concerned with the weather. Yeah, it'll probably snow, though, this year.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Of course, now I'm scrolling, and I haven't seen a post in days about it. But it is in. I'm positive it's in March.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be down there for it. The only weekend I couldn't do it is the weekend we have our convention.
Yeah. I think the next state convention that's coming up is Tennessee. They're in January, aren't they?
They're in February.
February. Okay.
Yeah, I actually talked to current state chair Josh Eagle yesterday.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So we have a big announcement coming up. Does anyone have the deets and some information on that one?
Oh no, he told me not to say anything until the details came out. So.
Oh, so Valerie's the keeper of secret information.
Me, I'm a vault. This is not Mountain Dew.
Oh, how
it is, so.
and I'm just drinking water out of a coffee mug. Yeah, fancy.
Bougie here.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, no. We escaped New England for Thanksgiving, and had to make the choice of letting our kids go remote for 2 weeks, because that is what the school was requiring. Since it's a charter school, they've been in person since Labor Day. 13 weeks of school, in person learning, no COVID, no problems, nothing. So when people are shutting down the schools, it's making me bonkers, because that's not the problem. Like the kids and the teachers are all fine. They're all fine.
Right.
But because we left New England, we had to say, okay, we left, and now we have to go remote for 2 weeks. And I love my children. I homeschooled them last year, but I am ready for them to be out of my house again. And I'm not saying like they need to go to government schools or whatever. Because we're supposed to be like somewhat quarantining ourselves, even though we had no exposure to COVID or anything, but we're doing like due diligence because we left New England. And the libraries are closed, everything's closed. So I'm like, we're just stuck in here.
So let me ask you a quick question about homeschooling up by you. I know down here in the Raleigh-Durham area, there's homeschooling co-ops, and there's actually like extracurricular, like if you're a parent, you're homeschooling, you're not good at math, they actually have other parents who will teach your child in math. And then if your specialty is in U.S. history, you might get those kids for U.S. history or something like that. Is that something that exists up by you, or?
It does. I feel like those kind of groups and the co-ops are a little bit more common in the more rural areas, oddly, because Manchester's like the biggest city, which is not that big. They had other things where you basically outsource with payments, So they went to a group co-op where you paid, X amount of dollars for a 1 hour class once a week for 7 weeks. One of the classes was actually taught by a libertarian that lives here that ran for state house. And so I didn't know that. And then I parked next to him when I was going to take the kids in, and I saw the Liberty Pledge newsletter on his front seat of his car. And I was like, I gotta find out who this guy is. So it's all intertwined. And then they did a bunch of school classes at the community center where they would have this guy come and do STEM classes. It's all for payment, but I tried to get Nick to teach a class at that co-op place so that we could maybe get like a free class. But I don't think he could actively teach younger children like that without.
You should teach them stoicism.
Oh yeah, he could have done that.
That would be awesome. Like all these little Zen kids,
But the homeschool community is huge once you start getting into it. Because at first I felt very alone, and I said, "Well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Why, I'm ruining my children, right? I'm totally like." And then my cousin was like, "No, some days we just go to the grocery store and we make a list and we write down the prices, and then I have them estimate how much our bill is going to be, and we call that math." And so adjusting like what you're teaching and how you're thinking about stuff is kind of the benefit that I got out of homeschooling. But I know myself, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and I'm not patient enough to continue to do that. But we found a great charter school here, and they're thriving. Right now I am losing it, but.
Well, you talk about shutdowns, like West Virginia, our county, so they do it county by county on how to determine who's going to school and who isn't. So Berkeley County, which is where I'm at in the Eastern Panhandle, is in the red status, so we're shut down. The kids are remote, but they're making the teachers go into the classroom to teach from the classroom.
Why can't they teach from? Because they don't want to like get in some kind of thing where they have to start paying them to use their internet at home. Is that why, like, to protect themselves or something?
You know what? I really think it's more of a, we want you to be in the classroom so we can prove that you're doing stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a bean counter type thing, at least to me. But yeah, it's been a severe disruption. Our local high school, their football team has been, with 4 years undefeated.
Yeah.
They were finally defeated this year, but they were still a very strong team in the state. They're in the state playoffs, and because they're in the red status, they had to forfeit their quarterfinal game to just because the county was in red. Had nothing to do with the team. There's no positives on the team. There were positives amongst the coaches. It was just the fact that the county was in red. I get the not wanting to pass it, but you're right. It's not the kids' issue right now. This is an adult issue that kids can get it. Kids can have bad outcomes from it, but not nearly in the numbers of what we're seeing with the adult.
Yeah. No, and I think the approach in West Virginia, aside from red or whatever, they're assigning these colors and it has to be this rate. But we all know that all the rates are 2 weeks old anyway, right? So so everything.
Look at North Carolina. We're doubling down. Our governor has just now shut down multiple things. Liquor has to be sold no later than 9 p.m. Every restaurant and bar now has to be closed at 10. Actually, there are, because of this, 2 additional nightclubs in downtown Raleigh have just basically said, we're going to close until March, and we may or may not reopen. So there's 2 more small businesses that are potentially gone forever. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely ludicrous what's going on, and there's no regard to small business owners whatsoever.
No.
And the service industries, the service industries are getting hit so hard, and a lot of these people are working like for $2.13 an hour, and even if they do to-go orders, they're not likely to get the pay for the to-go people, So, right. And a lot of them are part-time, they don't have health insurance for their employer. Yep. That's who's being most negatively impacted. People who work in restaurants, hotels, anything. Uber drivers that are going to try and make their most money after 10 p.m. What are they going to do now? It's just like, stop shutting everything down. I'm thankful for New Hampshire, though. We have a mask mandate, which I am not happy about. But he said, because of the mask mandate, I'm not shutting anything down. So as long as he sticks by that, I think we'll be okay. And Chris Sununu was rated the most libertarian governor in the country. So we'll see if he proves it.
Yeah, but is that a very high bar to cross?
Yeah. No. It's got to be better than Kim Jong-un, our governor here.
But, so you're talking about the service industries and all of that. So I was actually fact-checking something on the side here. But, this is another example of how charity and, people just pulling up their bootstraps and getting things done. Television celebrity Guy Fieri, I don't know if you're familiar with him on Food Network, but this guy raised $21.5 million to help individuals in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is you have to go to his charity and say, hey, I'm a restaurant worker. I've been affected by this, and I need help. And they have $21.5 million to actually, help you pay your rent or your utilities or stuff like this. This is the backbone of libertarian ideas, where we just come together and get things done to actually help each other. And I think that type of stuff is amazing, and we need to sing about it more often.
Yeah, the mayor of Flavortown is the most libertarian mayor in the country.
There you go, the mayor of Flavortown. I love it.
Mayor of Flavortown.
Yep. Who would have thought we're talking about the mayor of Flavortown on Libertarians at Large? Yeah.
But, I think one of the things that I'm looking at is that, a lot of the reason why people are pushing back on a lot of these things and not adhering to what they're saying. One, they're seeing that the leadership in their states or their cities are making these mandates aren't following themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nonsensical. Like, what good does a curfew do?
Right.
Like, COVID doesn't take the night off. Or it doesn't knock off early. COVID, is not at the bar at 5 p.m., but at the bar at 10 p.m. I mean, there's no sense to the regulations that they're making, and that's what's making it hard on getting people to adhere to them. Because if they make sense, if you get out there and make hey, wear a mask because this, and this.
Yep.
Do this. Wash your hands, all that good stuff. And tell people, if you go to a bar, there's a good chance that you could. If you're exposed to somebody over a long period of time, you're going to have a lot more chance of getting something. Rather than, 10 o'clock, we're going to close the bars. That does nothing. It really doesn't. It means people are going to go to the bar earlier and hang out earlier, and they're going to get the same exposure.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just crowding everyone in before closing time instead of potentially spreading them out during the entire course of the evening.
It's like the dumb thing that Walmart does, where they, instead of having both doors open so you can go into Walmart, they have everyone crowding into one door.
Yeah.
So you're crowding everyone into one place to get in and out of this building. Why? What sense does this make?
And they always had, entrance sign and exit sign on both sides of the building, so you're kind of separated anyway. And now you're not. So
except in downtown Phoenix.
It's just like that.
In downtown Phoenix, they made all the grocery stores that had entrance and exit only have an entrance that you use as both because people would steal things. And I always was like, why? Because you're going in and out at the same, you're crashing into people. Why is it like this? And then I asked, they had security guards at some of the downtown Phoenix grocery stores. I asked the security guard, why can't we use the other one? And he said, because this is how we can stop people from stealing things. Like, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's like, you have only one way in and out, but for COVID, that's in Minnesota, they did an announced closure, right? So everything's going to be closed starting Tuesday. And this was like a Saturday. So what did all the bars do? We got to get rid of all this alcohol we just bought. We got to get all these kegs are tapped. We can't let them sit here. Okay, we're having a fire sale. Everybody come in 50% off. So now they've encouraged the businesses to sell everything they have and get more people in at once. Just stupid. Just there's no rhyme or reason to any of these shutdown mandates.
It's the whole Friedman axiom that politicians and the government wants you to judge their policies based on their intentions rather than their results.
Oh yeah,
their intention is to do something good, but their results are complete crap.
Even in The Road to Serfdom, it talks about how all of those individuals are well-intentioned idealists, but it never goes the way they want. So I mean, this is a pattern that we've seen in time in memoriam, and it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Yeah. Now, David, I don't know. Do you know what we do on this show?
I know we do trivia.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do the New York Times news quiz every single week. So are you ready for the news quiz?
Let's do this.
Okay.
It's going to be one about the vaccine, one about some country that had a malevolent dictator or something. It's always the same thing.
Well, I have to say, Chile has actually been really, really quiet this week. So I don't think it's going to be. I don't think we have any questions about Chile.
For the last week,
they also a week behind. It's like the last week of November that we're dealing with in their trivia.
Oh wow! My computer is being really finicky and slow right now. I do apologize.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, this is not good.
me take this moment to ask everybody who's watching to donate to the Affiliate Support Fund.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah,
Hey.
absolutely.
lp.org/contribute and /affiliate-support-fund, or on the bottom right of the screen of the lp.org. Thank you. Good filler.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I actually have a big not responding sign on my feed right now.
Oh, perhaps it's time to reply to Chris Bergout. Yes, we're doing trivia. This is a lighthearted show. It's not a hard-hitting docu-series about the Constitution.
No,
so that's what you're
not a hard-hitting libertarian show. We're introducing the masses to libertarian solutions utilizing the current news.
And if you ever followed me on Facebook, you know I'm a dumpster fire.
You are as beautiful as 2020 is, Dave.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah to everybody.
Yes. Night of the Festival of Lights. And yeah, my computer is just not being happy today.
I'm running out of filler here. We're making lot on Saturday.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what's going on here.
One of my children is upset.
Uh-oh.
Luke Troxel. Those funds are used for a big competition that we're going to have launching in the first quarter of 2021, where we are going to create an affiliate in the box and fund 50 boxes for 50 brand new affiliates created throughout the country. And I apologize for my screaming 2-year-old. He does not want to go to bed.
Now he wants to do the quiz.
Yeah, no, it is not.
Do you want to read the questions? I can.
I know my entire Chrome is like not responding and locked up right now. This is technical difficulties. I wish I had like the old Indian head screen. Like, we are experiencing technical difficulties here going on right now because.
All right. Well, let me read the questions.
Okay. There we go. We're going to do this manually. There we go.
Old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
A senior. I know this one. A senior Iranian official was assassinated last Friday. Who was Mohsen Fakhrizadeh? Was he the Iran's foreign minister, Iran's intelligence chief, Iran's supreme leader, or Iran's top nuclear scientist?
If I remember right, and I'd have to see the name to be honest, but the way I'm picturing the name, I'm thinking it's Iran's top nuclear scientist.
Yeah, that is correct. It is.
Oh, good. That's what I was thinking in my head. I just didn't say it.
Yes, Mr. Fakhrizadeh. Sorry, I'm good with Iranian names normally. Fakhrizadeh, Iran's top nuclear scientist, was shot and killed in a roadside attack last week in a small city about 40 miles east of Tehran. He was behind the wheel. The interesting thing about this, there's been rumors that this was a remote machine gun, remote operated and deployed machine gun that did this assassination. So,
I was unaware that it actually was they're considering it was remote. That's
there's been a lot of, I mean, I don't know if that's true. That could just be the Iranians saying that it's a remote thing, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Sounds like there's going to be some civil unrest pretty soon here.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to do my Iran show on the deep dive soon. So, all right. So, number 2, which country granted emergency approval of Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine, becoming the first Western country to allow its health service to begin mass inoculations? Britain, Canada, Germany, or the United States?
Oh, we all should know this one.
Is it the United States? Like, that's us, right?
No, it's not the United States.
We still haven't done it yet. We've recommended.
Well, actually, no. Pfizer got the green light today. Moderna should get it next week.
I thought they recommended it, but they haven't fully done the green light yet.
I thought it was a vote of 14-4-1 to actually approve it and start distributing the vaccine. But no, the United Kingdom or Britain was the first one to actually sign off and approve it.
Dude, that's what you should never say. We should all know this because I.
I'm sorry. You know me. I'm addicted to news sites and watching the news and all of that.
Have to have you do the the skim for me, you know.
You need to give Valerie a briefing every morning.
Yeah, a briefing.
Yeah. Well, hey, I used to do briefings when I was in the Army, so we'll just start getting back into the habit.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, number 3.
Watch the news.
Number 3, which Americans did a panel of scientific advisors recommend should be the first to receive coronavirus vaccinations? Educators, people over the age of 65, residents and employees of nursing homes, transportation workers.
The residents and employees. My grandmother has dementia and she's in a nursing home, and we were like telling her when we saw her at a distance at Thanksgiving, hey, don't worry, pretty soon you can hug us. Like, we don't want to kill you, right? Because no, I already got the vaccine. And I was like, okay. But we then found out that she got the flu vaccine, obviously. Like,
yeah.
So they're start doing theirs like next week, I think, soon.
Yeah, very soon. They've already deployed these things out to the country, so it's ready to roll as soon as they approve it.
But this brings up an interesting question. How would libertarians distribute this vaccine? Like, I mean, obviously we wouldn't say, okay, this is who gets it first, and this who gets next, and this and that. But what is the libertarian solution? How would you define the libertarian solution on how to distribute this vaccine?
There would be like 5 vaccines already, and you could pay for whichever one you wanted.
Good point. That's probably actually very true.
in an ideal world, right now that we're bound by government regulations, I would say that they would, I don't know if you could vote or something and just say, because we all know that we would want the most vulnerable people to have the vaccine first, right?
Right.
But how do you judge who is the most vulnerable person? Because there could be a 12-year-old that has some health issues that could die if they got COVID. But my dad, who is 72, is totally fine, because he runs every day and he has a healthy diet and no underlying health.
But we know statistically who has been dying of coronavirus. And so that's a very good indicator of where it should go. And I think they did make the right decision. And, care facilities, making sure that the residents, because they're not all elderly.
Correct.
Right.
They people in care facilities, when coronavirus gets in there, it's because they're already compromised in some way. They're all packed together pretty tightly, and it's a breeding ground for things like that. So, we do have a good idea of who is the most vulnerable. The question is, beyond that first vulnerable, then who gets it? I think that's where you're. Tonight I saw a story where the NHL is going to produce vaccines for their players so they can play their full season. Or not full season, but their amended season on January 15th. So they're going to pay for the vaccines. So does it become the battle of the haves and the have-nots when it comes on the second wave of the vaccine?
Yeah, and somebody was calling me an idiot and a fool last week when I said that I would absolutely get the vaccine. We are pro legalizing all drugs. So if I want to do heroin, like, nobody's like, oh yeah, you can do heroin if you want. But when I say I want to get a vaccine, everyone's like, you're an idiot. Like, I'm not telling you to get a vaccine. I don't care what you do. I don't care what anybody else does. But as for me, myself, yeah, I'm fine. Like, do I trust it? I don't know. But like, I want to play hockey, or I want to be with people and go out and like.
I want to go to a concert. I want to go to a sporting event. I want to be able to go out and do things again. And yeah, if you're going to call me an idiot for that, I'll wear it. I just want to get out of this cycle of dumb that we're living in right now.
Yes, so dumb.
All right. So question number 4. Who on Tuesday said to date, we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election? Is it William Barr, Attorney General, Senator Lindsey Graham, Vice President Mike Pence, or Senator Mitch McConnell?
What was the first one again?
It was
Attorney General William Barr.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah, it was Attorney General.
It was Attorney General William Barr. said on Tuesday the Justice Department had not uncovered voting fraud on a scale that would have changed the results of the presidential election.
This I can't believe this is still going on. That
This lawsuit from Texas, people are telling me this isn't it. I got in a real big argument about, this being. I said this is just the GOP setting it up. They're like, it's done by the state. It's not the GOP, and it's like, well, look at Texas's constitutional officers and tell me how many what party they're all a member of.
Mm-hmm.
It's the GOP, and all of the attorney generals who have joined in this fight. What party are they of? They're of the GOP.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason to say this is not a GOP ploy to try and overturn the results of the election. If it's successful, and I mean, even with the bent of the court, I don't know how.
There we go.
How this is going to go down if the Supreme Court overturns the election. Oy.
I mean, and we were talking about recounts because of Bethany Baldus in Wyoming when she lost by like 32 votes. I think we were talking about recounts a couple weeks ago on the show. And I mean, not that Trump is trying to get a recount, but the result of a recount is generally like thousands to millions of dollars, depending on how many votes you're counting. And usually there's only a difference of 13 votes. So it's not like there's going to be this massive, they found, what did he lose by 1.7 million votes or something? They're not going to find them all in Texas. So this is just, it's a waste of time.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's a waste of everything. It's a waste of time. Just like, we don't want Biden to win either. I'm not saying that Trump should just say, okay, I'm done here. Like, I don't want him and I don't want Biden, but Joe Jorgensen, obviously, even if we did 10 recounts, she wouldn't win. But you're just wasting and you're diminishing the faith of the people in the election process. And that's the part that is like going to hurt worse later.
Yeah. And, it's not really to even get, I don't think in their hearts of hearts that they think that they're going to get those votes.
Somebody's asking questions in the comments. I'm sorry, Stacy Lewis. We're doing something else right now. So we're missing some of your questions, but we're trying.
But they're trying to get this to the point where it goes to Congress because they know they get the votes in Congress to do it. So they're just trying to run out the clock, and then they'll go to Congress, and Congress will put Trump in the White House, which
I think even most of Congress, I mean, even your diehard Republican congressmen, I think, have finally accepted the fact that Trump is not going to be the president come January 21st. It's just, they can't be that delusional. There is just no way that they can be that delusional at this point.
And the best thing for them would be to rip the Band-Aid off. Get him out of there. Get him before 4 more years of Trump for them is not going to be
no, nobody will be happy.
Well, and I'm sorry. I mean, he's already said on multiple occasions that he's going to run again in 2024.
Yeah.
Going and saying all of these things and acting the way that he is not going to help his situation in any way, shape, or form.
No, he's got a very loyal base who will vote for him no matter what happens in 2024. But he's done nothing to, and you've seen it. He's done nothing to expand that, and and he's not going to get a whole lot of help from Republicans when his lawyer is telling people not to vote in the Georgia Senate race, because unless they get a recount. Because if you scuttle the Senate majority for the Republicans, then you're handing the entire keys to the kingdom over to the Democrats, which
just don't even vote. Like, what do you guys know? Also, do you think Trump is going to run for Ted Cruz's seat? Because I've heard that in the latest conspiracies too.
What? Well, first off, he'd have to move to Texas, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have to move. He probably has like some PO box there or something, but.
Well, let me see if I can share my screen now because
I'm on question number 5. If you can.
Yep. I
I
already
want
have.
to remind everybody that this is
Hey,
just
look at that.
Now we're cooking.
deep diving in the politics.
Technical difficulties have been fixed. Okay, so tens of thousands of people have blocked highways around New Delhi, choking routes into the Indian capital. What are they protesting? Factory conditions, farm policies, police brutality, or teacher salaries?
It looks pretty brutal.
I want to say it's something kind of off, like teacher salaries.
I'm going to say police brutality because they have the big shield like block going in there.
So we've got one vote.
Dan says factory conditions.
Dan did the quiz already.
And
Factory conditions. So we've got Dan saying factory conditions. We've got Valerie saying police brutality, and David, you're saying teacher salaries.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so you're the guest. We're gonna go with you on this one.
Okay. All right.
And no, it's the
I'm
one
pumped.
no one picked.
Oh, wow.
It's farm policy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So thousands of angry farmers, many of whom have arrived on tractors and in trailers, have encircled New Delhi and blocked highways in protest of pro-market agricultural policies recently passed by the Indian government.
Removing subsidies.
Well, yeah, because the Indian government is actually trying to remove subsidies on this. But
so the
Subsidy.
farmers here are doing what they do in France whenever they do anything with farm subsidies.
so here's part of the entire thing about what libertarians are talking about. We cannot rip off things like a Band-Aid, right? We have to have a logical, metered approach on how to restore liberty. And the Indians have not followed that. They just basically said, okay, for generations or for at least decades, we've been giving out these farm subsidies, and now they're gone, done, whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way. Yes, we want to restore liberty, but when you have created an economy or a society that is absolutely dependent on these, you have to create a step-down program. We have to restore liberty. And you have to remember, we took away liberty for decades, and we've been eroding away at it. And when you're doling out money like this, you can't just rip the carpet out from other people, because that's going to destroy people. And libertarianism is also about compassion. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, as much as I want the Affordable Health Care Act just get out of here, people are so dependent on it now, and it's just so ridiculous. And can't we just opt out? Can't we stop paying? Can we figure out a way to take a step down? And that's why it keeps failing to vote it out, because even Republicans who are super Trump and have no soul have some kind of compassion for people who are writing these letters and saying, like, if I didn't have this, my son would have died from cancer or whatever. There's a sad story for everybody, but the free market is where it's at, and that's what we want. But yes, for us, I mean, I'm not a farmer. There's farmer subsidies here too, but the healthcare is what makes me the most mad right now.
Yeah, definitely keeping. You say Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to tear it down in a day. You're not going. You have to do it brick by brick, or especially in a democracy, in a representative republic, you're going to face the ballot sooner rather than later. So you rip off the Band-Aid, and guess what? Two years later, you're no longer in a position to make a difference. And just as easily as you voted them out, they can be voted right back in.
Right. Yeah.
Those policies. So.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of great comments on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next question. Let's see it here. Which company plans to acquire Slack? Is it Facebook, Google, Oracle, or Salesforce?
Salesforce.
This has been in the news a lot.
Can you tell I don't watch the news at all?
So Salesforce said on Tuesday that it would buy the workplace software company Slack for $27.7 billion in cash and stocks. I think this is just it's a great thing. I mean, Slack is a phenomenal communications tool for small to medium-sized groups. Salesforce is a completely customizable CRM and more package. It really is. It's just it's a merging of the minds. I mean, it really actually plugs in a hole that Salesforce has had, and that's a solid communications tool for a back end. And I think it makes total sense. And Slack is still going to be free or low cost, like it has always been. And Salesforce is not taking that away. So I think it's only going to strengthen Salesforce, but they're not taking away the functionality to the multitude of organizations that already use Slack. So I think this is just a smart move. What does everyone else think?
I still mourn AOL Instant Messenger.
Our vice chair is watching, and Slack is just an internet relay chat with a fancy front end. And it is. I mean, it kind of is, but it definitely still fills a very important niche. So, yeah.
I don't use it. I know everybody in the party uses it, but I have 900 apps on my phone, Signal and Telegram and Discord, and I've
not gotten into Discord. I have not gotten into Discord.
I've never got into Slack. So I mean, I was involved in it when I was in the Jerry Johnson campaign.
I got onto Slack kicking and screaming. The people in North Carolina, because we have a lot of diehard Slack users in North Carolina in the Libertarian Party, and there are a lot of key individuals that will tell you that they got me into Slack kicking and screaming all the way. I mean, but now it's part of my tools and part of my repertoire. But I did not want to go on there. I'm still trying to figure out how to make Snapchat a viable tool for the Libertarian Party. I am determined. I am bound and determined for that one. But
Snapchat, people say
I have not been able to figure out that one.
I'm waiting for Laura Ebke's TikTok channel.
There you go.
Make her doing some dance videos.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, we should have some Libertarian OnlyFans pages. There we go. Tom Arnold, first one on OnlyFans. There you go.
I mean, you like what you like. You like what you like.
Next question. What was removed from Utah desert last Friday, just 10 days after it was discovered?
The monolith?
Yeah.
Well, you're getting ahead of me, Valerie.
Sorry.
Okay. Teresa, you see, you do know the news. Okay, stop trying to play. We all know that you're just downplaying your crazy knowledge on the news.
I don't watch a lot of news because it's I don't want to say it's fake news or whatever, but the mainstream media does put a bias on things, and I don't feel like it's productive to watch fear and fear mongering on the local news telling me the same story every 30 minutes on the hour-long news program. And I don't even feel like I don't feel like there's any non-biased news channel or news show at this point. Maybe Kennedy.
Right.
But Kennedy's like this show.
Pretty accurate. Yeah, there was a 3-sided metal structure discovered in Utah Public Safety Works on November 18th. It disappeared last weekend as mysteriously as it arrived. Several days later, a photographer revealed on Instagram that he had witnessed 4 men arrive and remove into the remote spot on Friday night, dismantle the sculpture, and ferry it off in a wheelbarrow. What really amazes me is how many copycats there are now. Yeah. Because there's one in Fayetteville, there's one in Paris, I believe.
There's one in Romania.
What?
There was one in Romania.
Yeah, Romania. You know, so, I mean, it's all over it. I find it absolutely hysterical, all the copycats that are going on. So yeah. Next question. The Arbico radio telescope featured in movies like Goldeneye and Contact collapsed unexpectedly on Tuesday morning. I would hardly say it was unexpected. I don't think they figured that it would collapse as soon as it did, but it wasn't exactly an unexpected collapse. So I'll fight the New York Times on that one. Where was it located? Okay, so we all know that I'm a space nut, space junkie, so I am going to refrain. I've already heard David say Puerto Rico. Valerie, any ideas?
Yes, it's Puerto Rico. I know that one. I'm sandbagging. Ken was right. I'm sandbagging.
Puerto Rico. The enormous arbor. I can never say this. Arecibo, thank you. Radio telescope perched in the mountains of Puerto Rico collapsed unexpectedly on Tuesday morning. The cause of the collapse was not immediately clear. The fact that 2 of the main guide wires snapped over the last 90 days is probably something to do with it.
Well, got hit by a pretty bad hurricane first.
Well, yeah, no, it got hit by the hurricane 2 years ago, and it was severely weakened. The engineers were trying to figure out how to stabilize everything. Then one of the main guide wires snapped while the engineers, remember, this is a government program.
Yeah.
And the engineers were sitting around and drinking their coffee and trying to figure out how to prolong the entire engineering evaluation. And after a long 14 months of trying to figure out how to stabilize it, it was too late, and the first guide wire snapped. So if the engineers that were hired by the government actually, instead of just trying to take the government dime, actually did something, we probably would still have this. But unfortunately, due to a lack of government oversight, as is so commonly the feature, we have now lost one of the most important scientific tools that this world had. So, but they are talking about rebuilding in a different way. So we'll see what happens.
It's so bad. Anyway, it's so corrupt, right? Because of government oversights and overstepping. But we also cripple their economy with the Jones Act. So,
what the United States does to Puerto Rico is disgusting.
Yeah,
absolutely disgusting.
It's so bad. But I mean, that this could have been saved by us not having the Jones Act. But
all of our territories, we treat like crap. I mean, that includes Guam and American Samoa and all the other territories. So,
isn't Hawaii under the Jones Act as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
We went.
Because I remember Fina Bonon talking about it.
We went to a cruise to Hawaii, and you have to go from Canada to Hawaii. You can't just go from San Diego, San Francisco. You have to go from a foreign country to go to Hawaii.
No, you could fly directly from Los Angeles.
No, a cruise, I say.
Oh, cruise.
Yeah. Because of the Jones Act, and I'm like, this is insane. So to get from Vancouver down to Honolulu, it's 5 days. I mean, I'm sure it could take less if you're not drinking and playing bingo for.
Well, and only portions of the Jones Act actually apply to Hawaii any longer because they have been granted statehood. Mm-hmm. But there are some odd parts of the Jones Act that somehow still apply, even though they're a state. I don't know. I don't completely understand it.
Maybe anybody does.
Yeah, no. It was government writing at its best and is ridiculous.
Yep.
Okay, next question. 2 boxers in their 50s stepped back into the ring for an exhibition bout between 2 former champions last Saturday. Name them.
My husband.
Fans?
I got it. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
I will defer to you, sir, because I am not a boxing fan.
That fight was sponsored by Ben Gay.
It probably was. It probably was. So Mike Tyson, 54, and Mr. Jones, 51, came out of retirement for an exhibition bout on pay-per-view last weekend. They fought to a draw after 8 rounds.
Well, I will say, when I saw a training video of Tyson's, and that dude could still hit me so hard he'd alter my DNA. I mean, there's just it was frightening how the punches he was throwing. I'm like, this guy's like 54 years old. He would knock me.
I have no doubt. I mean, yeah, they're getting older, but they are still formidable forces. I would not doubt that in the least.
If you want to go for that for money, then that's their body, their choice, right? Like,
right?
Yeah. How was George Foreman when he finally retired?
Yeah, Dan Fishman just posted. Yeah. George Foreman was the world champion at 50. So, I mean, that's you know what? I mean, we're living longer and we have our youth longer. So this does not surprise me at all. And come on, we all had that grandpa or that neighbor or whatever that had like some crazy superhuman strength that, I mean, come on, we all had that one. So, 90 years old and could, I don't know, do anything. I was just like, yeah. Next question. A so-called BTS law was passed in South Korea, much to the excitement of fans. This revised law allows K-pop stars to do what? Receive a key to the city of Seoul, appear in public without a mask, waive taxes on their merchandise, or postpone their military service.
I got to say it's the mask one.
So you're saying it's appear in public without a mask
to please the fans? Yeah, I'm sure that's a.
I'm gonna say postpone their military service.
It could be, yeah.
So you're saying postpone military service?
Ken said his wife would know. Yes. Was she a K-pop fan, Ken?
So we've got Ken Molman is saying also postpone military service. My wife would know.
That's very interesting to me.
My wife would know about New Kids on the Block. That's pretty much
there. You go.
But we're the same age.
So I'm gonna say it's postpone military service because to me that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And it is. The National Assembly passed a revision of the country's Military Service Act that allows K-pop stars like Jin, the oldest member of BTS, to postpone their military service until they turn 30. Well, first of all, I am very happy that the United States does not have mandatory military service.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is one thing that we've already crossed off the list here. The chances of the draft, while it can still be brought back, the chances of it ever happening are slim to none. And I'm very happy to say that, even though I would love to see the registration, the selective service be completely done away with.
Yep.
But the teeth have been pretty much taken out of it. So I'm happy to say that we're a little ahead of South Korea on this one.
Yeah.
That's it should be a volunteer army. I'm sorry. I mean, I get it. It's Korea, and their biggest enemy is
there's a border
literally across the street from them.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a different world. But I do feel sorry for them that they have mandatory military service.
Yeah, and also like that's classist to just say, okay, well, if you're in a K-pop band, you don't have to be in the military.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
like what if I'm Korean and I'm saying, oh, I'm in a K-pop band too? Like that's kind of a slippery slope, that kind of law. But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there are like 5 million K-pop bands.
Yeah. Everyone's going to join a K-pop band now. Or we're going to see some interesting things.
I mean, BTS already has like 7 members. What's, a couple million more.
There you go.
Well, I actually can.
Their libertarian way to get out of it, and just
that's if there's a libertarian on the group, they should be like inviting everyone onto the group.
So Ken corrected me. Their biggest enemy is the rest of the continent, because China's their enemy as well, and all of that stuff. Even though there's an uneasy detente between South Korea and China, and South Korea actually has the 3rd largest number of factories, or actually the 4th largest number of factories in China. Number 1 being Japan, number 1 being the United States, number 2 being Japan, number 3 being China itself, and number 4 being South Korea. So there is an interesting detente between China and South Korea, even though they are not technically friendly. So yeah, okay. We are cooking through these. Well, actually, no, we only got 4 minutes left, but we are on the last question.
Uh-oh.
So a crowdfunding campaign is seeking to raise at least $5.3 million to buy and convert into a museum the longtime home of which fantasy author?
I have not heard this one. I feel
the only one I'm saying is Tolkien. But
which one?
Tolkien. J.R.R. Tolkien.
I would agree. Valerie?
I don't read fantasy. I know, shocking as a libertarian.
Oh, got it.
It is Tolkien.
Everyone take a shot.
There you go. The Oxford home of Tolkien, where he wrote The Hobbit and much of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, is about to re-enter the market, and a crowdfunding campaign has been started to raise at least $5.3 million to restore and turn the property into a museum. I think I have a lot of respect for Tolkien. He was not only a phenomenal fantasy writer, but he is also probably one of the most important linguists of the 20th century. If you look at Elvish, Elvish is actually almost entirely a rare dialect of Finnish called Karelian. And prior to him basically usurping the Karelian language and turning it into Elvish, there were less than 1,000 native speakers of Karelian. And now, because of Tolkien and the popularity of his books, Karelian has well over 1 million speakers around the entire world because of Tolkien. So he basically took a language that was about to be extinct and reinvigorated it through fantasy. I think,
Ken has
great. So, yeah.
Yeah, about half as long as his movies.
So, yes, we are. Oh, I'm sorry. Elvish? Are you guys talking about elves? I might die. But purely from a J.R.R. Tolkien linguistic aspect and not Elvish. So, yeah. But hey, we are libertarians, and a lot of libertarians love their fantasy. So,
there you go.
Oh, Bob Carwin makes the best dad joke. I was going to tell you this off when we got off the air. My dad tells this joke, like, who's the Hobbit's favorite singer? It's Elvish.
Elvis Presley, yes.
So dumb. So funny, but so dumb.
So yeah, no, that's we got 10 out of 11. We did better than 74% of those who took the quiz. 17% of quiz takers got the same score as us. So
nice.
Good stuff.
So smart.
All right.
Oh, But it is now 9 o'clock. It is the for time for us to say goodnight. Thank you for joining us on this interesting and fun episode, even though I had some technical difficulties and we had a little bit of a weird bump out there. But I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
David, again, thank you for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Anytime.
Absolutely great. Valerie, always. I'll see you next week. Or actually, no, next week you're not going to be joining us.
No, I will not be on next week. Andy Burns is hosting a how to make your county affiliate more powerful. I think that information went out in an email to all the party members, and it's probably available on events on lp.org as well. But Andy is our affiliate support person on the national paid staff, and I am the chair of the affiliate support committee as a volunteer. So, of course, I want to be there to see if I'm missing anything or fill in any gaps if that needs to be. But yeah, I will miss you next week.
Yes, but we will have the return of Laura Ebke next week, so we may have another special guest next week. So definitely stay tuned for that one. Everyone, have a great night, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, guys.